My name is Lisbeth. I was diagnosed in 2004 after my son was born with bipolar disorder. I was lucky enough at the time to have a doctor that did not just take for granted the fact that I had just had a baby and didn't just blow it off as postpartum depression. They actually took the time to look further and realize what was really the problem, which in a lot of cases can be very rare. If you're watching this, the chances are that either you yourself have been diagnosed with some sort of bipolar disorder or you know somebody that has been diagnosed and you're trying to learn more about it and you don't know how important that is. So, I'm not perfect. I've never done anything like this before. I'm socially awkward. I have social anxiety. I don't do really well with speaking to other people or speaking in front of a crowd. I'm not completely clear on the rules of how, YouTube channels or videos or whatever work. So I'm going to be learning and I'll probably make a lot of mistakes. I even have notes. That's how bad I am at this because I actually tried to do this once before and it turned out really bad because I kept repeating myself over and over and over again because I have so much that I want to say. So yes, when I'm looking down, I am reading my notes, kind of a script I put together. So you've seen how awkward I am, and so you're probably wondering why in the world I would want to do this, or why I would want to put myself through this, or maybe why I would want to put you through this. Well, the hardest part of this for me for a very long time was feeling alone. The feeling of hopelessness, feeling like I wasn't good enough, maybe that I was evil because of some of my anger outbursts, feeling that something was wrong with me, feeling that nobody knew what I was going through, nobody could understand, that nobody was taking the time to understand, and that just created a crushing loneliness to where even if I was surrounded by people or in a large crowd, I felt like I was alone because I wasn't accepted because of how I was, how I acted, how I felt. And I don't want anybody else to ever feel like that. I know that I probably can't help everybody, that I can't make everybody feel like they're not alone, but if just one person doesn't feel like that, then I will consider this a success. Just remember that there's more of us out there, that sometimes when people tell you, I know how you feel, and you think they couldn't possibly, that yeah, maybe they do. And maybe they know how you feel because they're going through the same thing. Wholeheartedly, when we say we know how you feel, we mean it. So just keep in mind throughout this entire project that you are not alone. So what to expect from this? Well, big warning, huge warning, that I will discuss every aspect of my diagnosis and how it has affected me. Everything that I have been through, everything that I have felt, everything that I've put other people through. I plan on showing you everything that goes on in my life, and some days might be pretty boring to where I'm like, hey, had a good day at work, bye. And some days you might see me bawling my eyes out or screaming, or it's all part of it, and maybe you'll relate to some of it. I'm gonna discuss the good times because there are good times, like what helps me calm down when I'm super excitable or super anxious, what helps keep me focused because it's a major part of this, trying to stay focused at work, trying to stay, even just watching a movie can be quite an exercise in focus. What helps quiet my mind as much as possible, because again, if you have been diagnosed, you know that our mind is racing a million miles a minute. We have dozens and dozens of different thoughts running through our mind, and everything just seems to get away from us. And so every once in a while, it's nice to kind of quiet your mind and kind of take a breather. And, you know, silly things, like, it might not be such a big deal to you guys, but like my emotional support doggies, especially one of them. Hopefully you'll stick around. Hopefully you'll subscribe and you can meet my doggies. I'll show you the bad times, the lows. Like I said, I'll try to do this almost every day. So there are going to be days when I'm in very lows. Show you the depressions. Sometimes they're not so bad. They don't last a whole lot. Sometimes they can last weeks. And I really want to show that. And then the things that I need to watch out for when I'm manic. I feel like a lot of the times the only thing that people see is us depressed. And so that's when they're like, oh, you need to be careful with her. Don't leave her by herself. Talk to her. Make sure she's okay. And a lot of people do not realize the dangers that there is also for us when we are manic. Some of them aren't so bad. Some of them are pretty intense. So I'll put out there the things that I look for. The anger, the anxiety, the social awkwardness. You know, when a trip to Walmart can be a traumatic experience, that's pretty intense. I'll try to show you the ugly. Kind of seems like the same thing, right? The bad and the ugly. Not quite. This is going to be the tough parts. The parts that a lot of us that have been diagnosed do not want to see. For example, I personally think that my diagnosis is very selfish. A lot of times I'm like, me, how I feel, how I think, how I react, how I do this. I'm actually going to try to show you the things that it does to the people that love us. What it does to our loved ones, what it does to our partners, what it does to our kids, what it does to our friends, our siblings, you know, everybody that loves us, what they go through when we go through stuff. So I know that's going to be a tough thing. The lack of help that I feel is out there for anybody really with a mental illness. I will try to show my son, teenager, of course he knows how this works. He let me know that YouTube sometimes is real iffy about things that might offend people. I will tell you right now, 2 subjects that I do plan on covering that might be a little tough, and I'll try to put up a warning as soon as I figure out how to do all of this, is going to be suicide and religion, because I think those two, at least suicide, is very important and to speak of, and religion, not because I want to sit here and preach to you, not at all, but that, again, I said I was going to show you different ways that I cope with things, and religion is a big part of it. But don't worry, I'm not going to sit here and preach to you guys. But there's also the hope, and that is my biggest goal, is to give somebody out there hope. You know, I try to live as normal a life as I can. I hold a full-time job. I take care of my son. For a long time, I was a single mom. We've had huge things happen in our family, but as much as possible, I think the most important thing for me eventually was to realize that all I want is a normal life. And so I do want to show how I try to keep that, and that you can do it. And I think one of the most important things to me is your support group, my support group, the ones that love us, how they can help. And most importantly, the toughest thing for me to learn was how to know to appreciate it. I think a lot of the times we sit here and we dwell so much on maybe not having a love partner, maybe not having a parent or something like that, to where we forget the people that are there for us. And those are the people that we really should be focused on, and the ones that we should be leaning around on. I will try to show you every aspect of how this affects me, and hopefully somebody out there will feel better for it. You know, at the very least, even in my lows, when you're like, oh dang, I can't believe that she showed that, or that's too hard for me to watch. At the very least, again, I hope that you just feel like you're not alone, like that you can relate to some of the things that are happening to me. So stick around, stay with me. You know, we can get through this together. You know, you are loved. You do have support out there somewhere, and hopefully I can show you how to look in the mirror at what I consider our biggest bully, the one that we can't run away from, and say, I will beat you. You will not get the best of me. You will not define who I am. And I will make my life better because I do have control of my life. Stick around. I hope to see you guys.